navigating his own healing journey. Founder of Biohackingville, Exodus Strong and QE Strong. Your host, Rob Rene. This is Biohackingville, where the medical system has failed us. One man is leading the rebellion to reclaim.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Biohackingville Podcast. I'm excited. We have Christine Genovese with us today, and she is an amazing woman. I'm very excited to have her here. How are you?
Oh my gosh, Rob, I am great. My new year is kicking off strong. How about yours?
It's so exciting. There's a lot of really good things happening, and I'm excited about 2026. And so I'm excited to learn more about what's going on in your world. Last time we spoke, things were exciting, but man, just in the short little conversation we've had, things are really picking up for you, and you're going to have a crazy year. It's exciting.
I know. It's amazing. There's so much goodness going on. Yeah, I've been really lucky to get a lot of press lately. The soul intelligence method is really starting to take off, and people are excited to learn that method. And
Amen.
I've had a lot of press coverage lately.
That is so neat. One of the things that you mentioned to me, which I think is just absolutely phenomenal, is not only are you on the front cover of the magazine, but you're the centerfold and the back. It's like, so
I know
how are
it,
you
right?
all three? Like that's
I
so
know.
amazing.
Isn't that crazy? So this is Best Holistic Life magazine. This is the cover. The back cover is our podcast, which we're going to have you on really soon, The Holistic Truth. Yep. And I did make the centerfold. It was really funny. I'm like, Mom, if you ever told me I would be a centerfold and a cover girl at my age, I would think you were crazy. So it's a really nice article. I'm very blessed to be in it, but it's a beautiful article about what's going on in my world, lots of information on my book, Healing Through Soul Intelligence, and just incredible spread. I'm like, wow, that's me? What?
Yeah, it's so awesome. That is so awesome. Well
Yeah.
deserved too.
Thank you. And then this was November on another
What?
cover. I
Really?
know, right?
Which
And it was
magazine
so
is that?
funny. This is called Soulish. I'm like, of course, Soul Intelligence has to be in a magazine called Soulish. My goodness. So they were also really gracious to give me a spread inside. So yeah, so things have been a little fun and a little crazy, but it's definitely been an amazing start to the year so far.
Yeah, that is so neat. Very well deserved. Obviously, we want to talk about soul intelligence, right? It's like a really exciting thing. You do a lot more than just soul intelligence and write books and being in centerfolds of stuff. I know you're a very busy woman. You have lots of responsibilities. So why don't you give everybody who doesn't know you just a quick overview of who you are and what you're doing, and then we'll dive into soul intelligence and we'll talk about a bunch of other fun stuff.
Oh my gosh, that's great. So you want me to start where?
Yeah, do wherever you want. Just give us a quick background of yourself.
Sure. First of all, I spent most of my career as a corporate turnaround specialist and revenue specialist. So I'd go into companies and figure out what people, processes, and technology needed to shift in order for the business to meet their objective. And I did that for most of my career until about March of 2020 when the world came to a screeching halt. And I was, for the first time, ever let go from a position, which came as a complete shock. Okay.
Yeah.
I had just gotten a performance bonus. So to get let go, like right after you got a bonus, you're like, what are you talking about?
That happened.
I know. But it turned out that it was really a planned takeover by the CEO. So he wasn't allowing us to hire people in the fourth quarter. And had he allowed us to do that, we had put a board deck together showing we would have met or exceeded, actually not only met, but exceeded the projections in Q1. And so what he did is he told us we couldn't hire anyone. So we had to hold the line on expenses through the end of the year. So when we put the deck together to show, had you let us do what we asked to do, we would have made it. He fired me and he fired the COO, my boss, and walked into the boardroom with our presentation, said they didn't hire enough people, and went on a hiring spree.
Oh my gosh. Gotta love
Oh,
people like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
The divine has a way of working things out. Some people call it karma. And yeah, there was a board investigation. He was removed from office. So he summarily hired a crony friend of his and put him in the seat, and they ran the company into the ground. So it no longer exists today.
There you
So
go.
what happened to
what a blessing
Christine?
that you aren't there, right?
Yeah, I would have been there. And I really think that's the point. The divine had a different plan for Christine. And so I got my own time out. And fortunately, I was given a nice exit package that gave me about 9 months to figure out, what do I really want to do with my life? And I always knew I had this ability to move energy. As a matter of fact, I had learned a method a long time ago that was actually created by a Baptist minister that used a book of charts and a pendulum, but it was very rigid. It was more, I think, religious than it was fluid enough for me to be more energetic and more encompassing of like life today. It was probably more, I would say, biblical than it was practical. Okay. And I always knew that I was supposed to somehow bridge the work world with the spiritual world and the faithful world. How am I going to do this? Because everybody's talking about separation of church and state. And I'm like, how do we bring this together?
Exactly. You're trying to do the opposite, right?
During that time, I did a lot of prayer and meditation. And I truly believe they both go hand in hand. To me, prayer is asking for the answers and meditation is listening for them. So I think they really work well.
Yeah.
And I did a lot of that. And that's when the soul intelligence method really came back to me or came through me from the divine. And so now I have a book of about 30 different charts that I use to help someone shift what's stuck in their subconscious mind, which sounds a little woo-woo. So let me explain. Our subconscious mind, really, our physical body is the barometer to our subconscious mind. Okay. And our body tells us what's going on if we understand what the messages are that our body's giving us, right? And a lot of people have written books about it. The Body Keeps Score and others about what's the underlying energetic root cause for whatever's going wrong in the body. And what I'm able to do is to shift that energy. And I think it gets back to me sharing the science behind the method. I work in the field of bioenergetics. I talk about quantum physics, and I also talk about neuroplasticity. And so if I start with bioenergetics, that's the simplest one. To me, it's common sense. If you're physically not doing well, typically mentally and emotionally, you're not doing so hot either, right? Because it's all connected.
Right.
And if we rewind the clock a little further, we'll go back to elementary school. We all learned that we are energetic beings. We're all protons, neutrons, electrons in this electromagnetic field vibrating all the time. We forget that because we're physical, we're corporal, right? So we feel separate from each other, when in actuality, we're energetic beings. We have electricity running through our bodies. We're mostly water, right? We're conducting that electricity. The heart has electrical frequencies. As a matter of fact, our heart is infinitely 3 times bigger, the electromagnetic field around the heart, than around the brain. Yet we spend so much time up here in this brain, strategizing, figuring, thinking, calculating, all of that. And our heart is so much stronger.
Yeah, that's so amazing, because I've heard research, right, that the heart like extends like way outside of your body,
6
like
foot
way
wide.
further, right?
Yep, a 6 foot wide radius compared to 2 feet. Yep,
really large.
And we had to stand 6 feet apart from each other. How weird!
Imagine that, huh? Yeah, we don't want you interconnected, because that would be bad. Wow.
But it also means, right, that we can feel energy. Okay, and everybody and everything is energy. So that means energy can get stuck in people, places, or things, and it can get stuck in your physical, mental, and emotional body. Our cells literally hold onto trauma and trapped energy. Emotions are energy in motion. When they are no longer in motion, that's when they form dis-ease within the body, or a dysfunction or a dissonance in the frequency. And people are like, I don't get it. How does an emotion like form a disease or a mass? It pulls the cells together, right? And causes the dysfunction. And if you think about energy, like the only way I'm seeing you right now is through this wonderful, magical internet. How do we stream things and it just shows up on our phone or it just shows up on our computer? Everything is energy and frequency, right? Everything is information that's coming in as a frequency. And we have a computer to translate it, we have a phone to translate it, or we have our brain to translate it. We also have our ears, which translates music as energy, information, and frequency. So I think we just don't think about it because you can't see it.
Yeah.
And so what's super cool is that people are really recognizing the power of energy medicine and frequency, right? And how that can shift your being. I listen to high vibe music. That is a great way to shift your frequency immediately, right? Because it just gets you in a different state.
Yeah, that's one of the things that was amazing to me as I was researching all this stuff about frequencies and the quantum field and quantum energy. And it was amazing to me, even just learning about sound frequency and how they change the actual frequency of our music, right? It's like, what the heck? It's so fascinating when you do the research on things like that, because that stuff that when I was first introduced to it, I thought it was silly.
course,
But
right.
then you start researching it and you start realizing the science behind it, and then it just shifts. You're like, oh my gosh, this is real, and that does happen. And when I was doing research on the human body, that was fascinating to me. It's like, we are energy. That doesn't make sense. We're skin and bones, right? How are we energy? So then you start researching that, and holy smokes, this whole world, God designed this body so incredibly complex and so wonderful that it's just amazing, all the interconnectedness of the body. And so I love the fact that your soul intelligence related to the whole body, right? The whole thing, right? Not just the skin and bones. You're talking the whole energetic field and really things like that. So this is fascinating. I love it. Sorry,
Well,
continue. This is
no,
neat.
absolutely. I'm delighted to have the conversation with you. So basically what I do is I set up a sacred space, right? I ask the divine to make sure that anything that needs to move, shift, or clear does during a session. And once I do that, then I'm able to connect with that individual and be able to know what needs to shift for that person. Okay. And it's divine information that's coming through me to share. And I can get really specific in a session, like when the hurt or harm happened. And the cool thing about my method is you don't have to relive the trauma like in therapy, right? What they're doing is trying to get you back into that situation. So you evoke the emotion and you bring it up and out. That's very painful.
Yeah.
And sometimes doing it over and over again actually reinforces it as opposed to bringing up to be released.
Get rid of
The
it.
other
Gotcha.
the other scientific fact about energy is once it's created, it can't be destroyed. It's got to be transmuted. It has to be turned into something else, like alchemically shifted. And so the only way that can happen, right, is with that conscious intention of being able to send it back to the divine for transmutation into love and light. And it's really fascinating when you start doing it. And people are like, how'd you know you knew how to do it? And I went, I was this corporate crazy warrior for a while, an adrenal junkie, plane hopper. I still do that a lot, but not as bad as I used to. And I realized when I was doing these corporate turnarounds that there was these underlying themes, right? And so I had used my old method that I had learned, and I would just be in my hotel room figuring out what that team wasn't able to do, what that division wasn't able to do, what that company was really struggling with, all of those underlying energies or themes that everybody had bought into that was not allowing them to hit the goals that they wanted to achieve. Now, obviously, I wouldn't walk into the boardroom with a book of charts and a pendulum, but in my hotel room, it was perfectly fine to be this little spiritual gangster in the closet.
There you go. I love
but
it. Spiritual gangster in the closet. That's a good one.
But now I'm a lot more, I think it's become a lot more mainstream. As a matter of fact, the Cleveland Clinic is actually using energy medicine today to help treat their cancer patients and to help them with the mental and emotional component of healing that goes along with it. I recently did a webinar for Nutritional Frontiers where I talked about the future of medicine being frequency. Now, I would love to say that I came up with that, but Einstein actually did.
Yes.
Because he knew, right, everyone and everything is energy and frequency. And when we start looking at the root cause of everything, it is that trapped energy, that underlying emotional component that has to shift, no matter what our ailment is.
That's just super duper fascinating, right? It really is. So you, right now, do you counsel people specifically like themselves, or do you have them read the book? That sounds, obviously you do sessions, you're mentioning to people. Is that what you obviously are busy doing a lot of other things. You don't have time to do that for 24/7, right?
Yeah, I do work quite a bit. I'm working on trying to have better balance in 2026, but I do sessions personally, and I
Okay.
typically, but my real goal is to teach people this method. As a matter of fact, in February, I'm doing a workshop, an 8-hour workshop, to teach someone how to do this for themselves using half the charts. So 4 hours on a Friday and 4 hours on a Saturday. It's over Valentine's weekend. I thought that might be nice. Give the gift of love to yourself, right? And learn how to shift some of these things so you would be able to do it for yourself and like maybe a home or maybe even a pet, because yes, the pets have little souls too. And you being in a home, your energy can get stuck and trapped in the home and keep things energetically stuck, right? You walk into a room like the stuffy cocktail party and you're like, yeah, I want to get out of here. Or you go into a concert and you can feel the energy because everybody's excited to see the same musician, right? We can feel and sense energy. So spaces can hold energy too. And when you shift, you'd be amazed to see how many people shift in your world. And one of the things I always tell people is, when you shift, your partner, okay, or your family members will respond to you differently because you don't feel the same way and you're going to feel different to them. And I had one doctor that I did a session for. I don't get it. You did it to me, and yet my husband treated me like the nicest he's ever treated me. And I'm like, yeah, because you're different. You're also not reacting in the same way. You're responding differently. So your whole demeanor has shifted in how you're going to relate to him. And so he's now going, oh, I kind of like this. This feels different, right? So it's really fascinating when you start looking at it. But even if you're not in relationship with someone, when you choose to heal yourself, that ripple effect that goes out is amazing. Because if you've ever heard of the butterfly effect, okay, that's where a butterfly, if it dramatically changes the direction of its normal migration path on one side of the world, it can literally cause a tsunami on the other side. Why? Everything is energy. We are all connected. That's part of quantum physics. And it means you can actually, when you heal yourself, you're helping to raise the consciousness of the planet, right? You're helping other people heal because you're getting rid of those things that are pulling us down and keeping us further away from the divine.
I love that because that's what I believe a lot of my purpose in life is. The more that I'm learning how God has trained me my entire life, as all the experiences and stuff that He's given me is to help people with their health, but then help them with their faith through their health for that specific reason. Just imagine if you can be better health wise. And then when you're better health-wise, you think better and you act better and you give off better, you project better. You get all these emotions and feelings. And then guess what? You're going to be a better person. And then, like you said, the butterfly effect.
The ripple effect, yeah.
And the ripple effect is going to go throughout your little world, which then is going to go out to the whole world. I'm excited that you and I have really similar paths in the respect that that's my goal, right? I just want to help people, and if I can help one person and that one person can make a difference, then my goal has been met, right? And
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll use myself as an example, right? Healer, heal thyself. I know you've been going through your own personal challenges that you're sharing with people. I'll share, at one time I had a cervical cancer scare. And I had gone to my OBGYN and she's, you have an abnormal pap smear, you need to come back in. I'm like, okay. So I went back in, they did an in-office procedure, the copal, and then they called me again and said, hey, there's too many abnormal cells here. We have to take you into the hospital and do a conical biopsy. I'm like, a what? What are you talking about? No way. I feel fine. And at that time, I had been that crazy corporate plane junkie I just told you about, who really devalued herself as a woman. Okay, I grew up at a time in corporate America where, as to be a woman, I felt like I needed to act like a man to be in business. So I would always be up on sports, and I used very crass language, and I would make fun of people who were emotional at work. And I would everything I could do to act more like a man, like I'm in control of my emotions. Exactly, right? It's so funny when I see how I behave then. Like my first reaction when they told me that after I got over the shock, I was like, I'm done having kids. I don't need those parts anyway. How disconnected from my body could I be? Just take it out like a car. Who cares?
Yeah, what the heck? I don't need it anymore.
It's just like, what am I thinking? Anyway, when you sit with that, right, you're like, okay, now what? I went to every healer I could think of. Doctors. I went to someone that did energetic acupuncture. I went to a massage therapist. I went to an energy worker. I talked to someone else. And the first person I remember I talked to, she says to me, you have to get in touch with your divine feminine. And at the time I was like, what the heck does that mean? Now people get the divine feminine is more the creative aspect. The divine masculine holds the container, so the divine feminine feels safe to create and bring creation through her body. But at the time I was like, what? I'm like, what do I have to grow my hair long? Wear flowy dresses? Dance? What do you mean? Exactly. It was like, what? I actually started to do some research. I'm like, okay. I started to research really strong feminine characters, and people in history, people like Joan of Arc, or going all the way back to the Egyptians, Sekhmet, this lioness goddess who was a very strong leader, Isis, all of these really strong feminine figures that held leadership positions and did a great job and were able to be feminine at the same time they were able to lead. And I realized, oh, I had pushed all of my femininity down to the seat of femininity. Yeah.
Wow.
My cervix, right? At the seat of the uterus. And that is your womb space. That is where you create, right? That is, you have life creation. And it's also where obviously we birth babies, we birth businesses, but that's where all that energy went. It had to go somewhere. And so I started to do the work, and I started to meditate and pray and see myself vibrating in a healthy manner. And I went to one friend who's a massage therapist and does some Reiki energy work. And she said to me, by the time you go in for that clinical biopsy, it's going to be gone. I go, you know what? You're right. It is gone. And I started to meditate and vibrate and see myself being healthy. I went in for the clinical biopsy, and I will never forget the OBGYN's face when she came out to tell me, we must have cut it all out because it's gone. I'm like, yeah, we must have. So was it cutting it out? Was it the energy work? Was it the meditation? Yes, is my answer. It was all of it. It's not one or the other. That's part of holistic healing and looking at it as a whole. And it's really interesting when you get deep and you really go underneath and you figure out what you had been doing. And I have fortunately never had an issue since and don't plan on it.
Amen.
Yeah.
That is so amazing, because I'm so excited about you're just looking at the holistic person, right? Because a lot of medicine, and that's the thing that got me so frustrated and got me really literally interested in this healthcare world, is my frustration in the respect that it's just symptom management. It's not helping the individual. They don't want it. What's the core cause? What's the origination of the issue? That's what's really important. If we can figure out a way to resolve the original issue, then everything else resolves itself. And I am very excited about what's happening in the Maha movement. And I think our society is realizing that this old way of doing medicine, the way that our big pharma system is produced right now, is bad, and that people are waking up to the fact that, hey, we do need to look at the person as a holistic person, and the fact that what you're doing and helping people look at themselves holistically is just so important. And I love what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, Rob. Yeah, I'm really encouraged by what's going on today too, just in terms of embracing a real nutritional pyramid. How about that?
Yeah, can you imagine
let's start there. I mean,
like, what the heck?
yeah,
I don't
it's
know if
like,
you saw the South Park, the episode. Did you ever see that?
No.
It was South Park did an episode years ago about it being the pyramid being upside down,
and
it's
crazy.
So hilarious that it's like literally they just flipped it upside down, and that's the one that's supposed to be, right? It's just
the interesting thing to me is with a computer. If you put junk data in a computer, you're going to get junk out. It's the same thing
Yeah.
with the human body. My goodness. You
Yeah.
have to give the body what it needs to heal, to function properly. So when you start doing the research, as you said earlier, and finding out, oh, the tobacco companies took over the food companies, that makes sense. That's why there's all this high fructose corn syrup and we were addicted to sugar and everybody started to get really heavy and, oh, inflammation goes up in the body and this happens and this. It's a chain of effect. So I love that we have capitalism in this country and that we're able to make money and do all those things, but I don't like that we're doing it at the expense of our country's health.
Wow.
And I think there's been a lot of, when Big Pharma got involved, that was really learning, about the oil barons and how they started to make medications with all the petroleum-based products. So they started, the ones with the money,
The old
funded.
Flexner report, right?
That's right. They funded the medical schools.
Yeah.
So nutrition, nope, forget that. Naturopathic, nope, forget that. And so it was also, not only did they do that, but they also tried to discredit that. And so,
They vilified it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And so I think it's really cool today that people are starting to understand most of what causes disease in the body, okay, are controllable lifestyle elements. It's toxicity, and that's like what you listen to, what you hear, who you're around, besides what you put in your body and what's in your own personal environment and chemicals and whatever. But it's also the number one thing is stress.
Yeah.
And if you really stay plugged into what's broadcast on the airwaves and everything else, it's to keep people in fear, because when you're in fear, that drops your frequency, okay, very low. Because emotions like joy and peace and love vibrate very high. So we drop you down to where it's really low. And then we continue when you're in that low vibrational frequency, it's harder for your immune system to function. So you are more susceptible to disease, right?
And
You've
not
got
only that, but the division too, right? It's like they want you low, but then they also want you to fight everybody else. Because if you're in that bad state, you're going to be argumentative, and
distracted.
Yeah, you're distracted from taking care of this incredible temple.
Amen. So you've got stress, you've got toxicity, poor nutrition, right? So if we tell you to eat all our processed food and crap, it's either junk or food, right? That's it. It's junk food? No, it's not food. If it doesn't swim, fly, run, all those good things, it's probably not good for you or grow on the ground. And then you've got lack of movement, right?
Yeah.
Sitting is the new smoking, as another one. And then the last really, I think, big component is the genetic component. And that is really the smallest, right? Everything else is actually within your control. So that's the good news, that we can take care of ourselves. We can be focused on our health. We don't have to just sit back and go, oh, my dad had high blood pressure, so I have high blood pressure. I didn't know that you could control your blood pressure with nutraceuticals. I thought I had to be on a blood pressure medication until I got to Nutritional Frontiers.
Right.
And I was told, no, you can control that with 7 flowers, which are the 7 blue flowers that have been around in the Orient since Chinese times. It's an ancient medicine. And we have a product at Nutritional Frontiers that I use called CircuCore, which helps with circulation. And then I use something that's got CoQ10, which is great for your heart, called Enter CoQ10. So it's Enter CoQ10 because it's got DMG in it, which is like a form of a B vitamin that also helps with your ultimate methylation in your body. And I've never had better blood pressure. So I'm not on any medications whatsoever. I'm super healthy. As a matter of fact, my tennis team is going to the state championships in Florida in 2 weeks.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
I know
exciting.
it. Look out. I'll have to let you know how that all works out.
I'm excited.
I know you're like, what's going on? So, yeah. So that, and I am, my book is Healing Through Soul Intelligence. It is available on Amazon. I also have it on Kindle and Audible, and I did record it at a studio in LA. That was a blast. Because I've had several people actually go, oh my gosh, it sounds like a healing when you do it. I feel like I got one because you're reading it. And I went, awesome.
That's what you wanted.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So I'm also working on my next book, A Daily Dose of Soul Intelligence. So it's a soul intelligence story about a healing. And then I have a daily quote, a journal prompt, and an inspired action for every day of the year. So I'm working on releasing that this year as my next work.
That's exciting.
And I think later this spring, I'm in a movie called The Pillars of Power, which
Wow.
is yeah, it is based on a celebration of The Secret, which, if you remember the book The Secret, it was one of the early books about manifestation. It talked about power positive thinking and affirmations. And people like Dr. Joe Vitale and Marie Diamond were in this original movie. It was a book and then became a movie. So we have a number of those original transformational specialists, along with some of today's pioneers like myself. It's going to be a pretty cool, streamable movie that'll be coming out. And as soon as I have more information on that, I'll be happy to share it with you and your audience.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you're a centerfold and a movie star and a
Do you believe it?
tennis expert. It's like, holy smokes, what do you not do? It's
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
no,
Yeah,
that's
my life
really
is
good.
really full and I feel really blessed. And I really believe that when you're doing God's work, what you're meant to do, you're in alignment with your mission, your vision, your values, and your purpose, and you feel like you're a part of something bigger than yourself, the divine's going to provide for you. And so I really feel like my life is truly blessed. I also get to work with an incredible company, Nutritional Frontiers. They are focused in nutraceuticals and really helping to provide healthy vitamins and healthy products for doctors to provide to their patients, things to help heal the gut and also to make sure that our immune systems are strong. There's so many great products that we have and formulations at Nutritional Frontiers. I'm very blessed to work in the field of functional and integrated medicine.
Yeah, that's really exciting. What is your role at Nutritional Frontiers?
I'm the chief growth officer, so that means I get to focus on everything that we move forward. So that's everything from sales and marketing to our education, which is a big part of what we do, educating people about the body and their wellness solutions and how the right formulas can help the body heal just about anything. And that's a big part of our mission. My latest creation is super cool. I got to send it to you, Rob. I created a custom chat GPT just for Nutritional Frontiers clients
Nice,
called My NFND, like naturopathic doctor.
nice.
And I did it based on our professional training guide with all our protocols, along with all the protocols the incredible doctors and speakers that we've had in the past year have provided at all of our educational events. So you can ask it like anything. And it's going to give you a protocol and recommendation for Nutritional Frontiers formulas on what you need to take in order to heal it. And it is
That's
super
beautiful.
cool. And the best part is when, people are like, wow, I can't stump it. I'm like, yes, but it's a private chat GPT. So you have to be part of the Nutritional Frontiers community to have access to it, but I'll get it to you.
Yeah,
I know.
that would
You're
be
in the know.
amazing. We'll have to work on something because I'm creating a community called Biohackingville, and in that community, I'm having certain experts that I'm creating that are around different health fields, and it'd be fun if we could figure out a way to make it work so I could have that as part of my community. So when people want to understand what type of formulations they could get from Nutritional Frontiers, we have the expert available for them. So,
Oh, that would be super cool. We'll definitely have to talk offline because that was my brainchild at the end of the year that I put together, and it's been a blast. I've had a really good time. I'm a 55-year-old with this condition and I want to lose weight, but I want and go on hormones, but I'm not sure. And then it spits out the protocol and which thing you would start working on first, and then what formulations would support your goals.
yeah,
Doctors are using it, and it's a great way for us to help teach people how to heal naturally, which is ideally the best way if you can do it. Now, I'm not opposed to you're bleeding, you got to go to the hospital. Having a heart attack, you better go. And we're really good at chronic care. At urgent care, the immediate need. But I think where we fall down in our country is on those chronic conditions, the things that just won't heal.
And that they're hard to heal. And that's the thing. A lot of people, they want to go, they've been trained in our society that you go get a pill for your ill. And then
That's
it's going to
right.
be magically fixed. And that's not how the human body works. God made us in such a special way, but he did make our bodies to heal itself. So if we can get it the right makeup, the right nutrients, the right setup, get rid of the garbage and the baggage like you're doing with Soul Intelligence, where you're helping clear the conscious, you're helping clear those bad things that have happened within the energetical field of the body. And then guess what? Your body will heal itself. But you've got to give it time, right? Like you said, I've been on a health journey like crazy for the last 12, 14 months. And it's been incredible, right? It takes a long time for the human body to transition from an old way to a new way, but it's just absolutely incredible when you start making that transition. Like my energy levels are off the charts, right? I feel so much better in the things that I'm doing. And it's just because I'm taking care of the temple, right? I'm doing how God designed it. And when you give it those right nutrients, right? I get my sun, I do the grounding, I get the water, the intake that I need, and get the nutrients that I need. And it's amazing to do to your body, right? I'm just really jazzed about what you're doing and so excited about your new book coming out. That sounds absolutely fascinating. Excited about that. And I'll make sure that we have the link to your book in the show notes so people can grab a copy of Soul Intelligence, because I think they'll enjoy that. And we'll make sure that we have a link to get to Nutritional Frontiers as well. So,
oh my gosh, that would be tremendous.
Anything else you'd like to leave the community with?
One of the things that I want to share is that every month I have a focus on a topic, and I do a group Soul Intelligence session. It's so that it's a great way for someone who's like curious and has never had a Soul Intelligence session or experienced an energetic alignment. Like a chiropractor, you get a biomechanical adjustment. You come to me for a bioenergetic one. All right. And the good thing is all you got to do is show up, do a Zoom call. You don't have to do anything. And people are like, how's that work? Remember, it's energy and frequency. You're going to receive. You're going to be in a good state to be able to receive the healing. And that's all you got to do. And I do that the first Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you're interested in learning more about that, you can sign up to be a part of my Inner Circle program, where it's just $11 a month or $111 for the year to be a part of that and to experience that and get a little bioenergetic adjustment every month with me. So that's probably the best way for people to get introduced.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So we'll make sure we have that link and information so people can go sign up for that. That sounds like a great way to get introduced to that world in a non-confrontational, very soft way to do it. But I think it'll be very educational for people. That's fantastic.
Awesome. Well, Rob, my next one will be the first Wednesday in February at 6 p.m. Eastern. And because if you think about it, February, the month of love, we're going to talk about relationship with self, the most important one. You're supposed to love one another as you love yourself. One of the most important things I think that has ever been uttered. And then being able to work with the relationships you have in your life. So whether that's an intimate relationship, whether that's a relationship with a child, whether it's a relationship at work, but it's going to be clearing any blocks to relationship in general.
That's fantastic. I love it. God bless you, Christine. Thank you so much for taking the time to be on the Biohackingville podcast. And we just are super excited about helping people, right? The tagline is believe, biohack, and become. And so that's what we want people to understand, that they can believe. Once they believe, then you can biohack your body, and then you can become the person that you want to be and need to be for yourself and for others. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Rob. Thank you for the work that you're doing in the world, and thank you for being such an example of resilience and faith in your own health journey.
I appreciate it. God bless you very much. We'll see you soon. Signing off from the Biohackingville Podcast. Remember, if you have air in your lungs today, God has a plan for your life. Believe, biohack, become.
Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Join the community and get the show notes at biohackingville.com. Follow us on all social media platforms at Biohackingville. Until next time, believe, biohack, become.